arrested Tony D'Souza, one of the producers who directed the movie, and Ajay Pannalal, and they had to spend time in jail before they were later released on bail. I spoke to Tony D'Souza earlier in the day, and he does seem rattled since he's just a filmmaker, not a political personality. But the central theme of the debate, of course, is not new today. It is directly being seen as a freedom of speech and expression issue on one hand, and hurting quote-unquote religious sentiment on the other. This is not the first time a movie or a creative piece of art in whatever shape or form has been targeted by groups like the current one we're talking about over hurting one's religious sentiment. So, thereby getting us back to the age-old question, if freedom of speech cannot be absolute in this country, which it's not, because there are restrictions and limits to freedom of speech and expression in this country, what gives other groups the idea, or what gives other groups mileage out of it? Is it a question of getting cheap publicity, as one of the filmmakers has alleged against the groups, or is it really about hurting sentiments or us going overboard with our sentiments in the first place? Not the question tonight on Nation of Nine. I will come to the question in just a bit. Before we go to the big questions that I've written myself, and I'm in a back. Take a look at the drawing. Yes, I was surprised, I was unhappy by it. He weren't served any notices, no summons, nothing.
The producer of Bhen, Hogi, Teri, a movie which has been making the headlines for its poster.
No, I think we should respect the censor board and let them decide what is wrong with the trial.
The controversy surrounding the Rajkumar Rao starrer doesn't seem to be dying down. Producer broke his silence on NewsX, clearly rejecting the claim that he was sent a notice prior to the arrest warrant.
Producers of the film maintain that they are sticking to their stand, they will not backtrack, they are saying their movie has been cleared by the CBFC. So why is another institution acting as a self-proclaimed censor? They also say that this person is doing it simply for publicity and nothing else.
The film's poster has once again put at center the long-standing debate of freedom of speech versus hurting religious sentiments.
The first poster that was out showed Rajkumar Rao in an outfit of Shiva's sitting on a silver bike, and this is a poster which seems to be having issues with certain religious groups. Well, after the arrest, they are out on the bail, but then this whole movie, which is about to release on 9th of June, seems to be landing in legal trouble.
While the filmmakers have termed it nothing but bullying by fringe groups, the incident has already taken a political turn.
In the garb of artistic freedom, if you want to demean and if you want to lampoon a religious belief, I think we need to rethink.
There is no harm on the name of any movie, of any name. Yes, the censor board is the competent authority to take action in this regard.
This is not the first time that showbiz has been accused of hurting religious sentiments, from comedian Kiku Sharda's arrest to protests against Amir Khan's PK. Actors, producers and even directors have been at the receiving end of a backlash. But the question really is, who decides the fine line between artistic liberty and taking it too far? Bureau Report, NewsX.
Alright, big questions tonight on the Nation at 9 on your screens now. Are religious groups justified in targeting a film that has already been cleared by the CBFC, the only authority that could matter, ideally in this case? Are quote-unquote hurt religious sentiments a convenient way in this country and abroad of attracting publicity and media hype? Question number 3, is context being deliberately omitted to create an emotional whiplash, in this case at least, and also at large? Are creative liberty and contextual humor being systematically targeted repeatedly in India, as some artists and creative filmmakers have alleged over the past few years? And my last question tonight to the viewers and the panel: are filmmakers, creative artists now the softest and easiest targets for cultural bullies, as they put it? Those are the questions I've kept them in front of you. You can form your own opinions, but we'll of course try and get to the answers, hopefully, With the help of an eminent panel, joining me tonight, Acharya Vasudev. He's a Hindu scholar. He joins me in the studio. Also in the studio tonight with me, Arnab Banerjee is here. He's a film critic. Dr. Punpreet Singh, he's the advisor Youth Affairs and DSG MC, and also a member of the Shiromani Akali Dal. Dr. John Dayal, he's an activist. He joins me in the studio as well. And RP Singh will be joining us from outside the studio. He's a BJP spokesperson. Thank you all for being with us. Let me start with you, Arnab Banerjee, if I could, straight away. This is not new. Films have been targeted before for various religious groups, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or what have you. Now, the filmmakers, one of them I spoke to earlier, said there was no intention, first off, to hurt any sentiments. This is deliberately, context is being omitted because in the grab, in the poster that created the controversy, the man is playing a role of a character who dons the Shiva garb for a living. How important, first off, is context before we start trying to do thoughts?
I think this has become more of a norm these days. The past couple of years, we've seen increasingly filmmakers, getting into this kind of a controversy. So it's nothing new. But having said that, I would also question these people. There is one minuscule section of society which seems to be outraged or hurt people. Whose sentiments are we talking about first? I think we need to answer that question first.
Okay, so you're saying these people who say the religious sentiments are hard are trying to appropriate an entire culture, an entire religion,
yes.
Perhaps, and that's not really on, and that's not really genuine.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. That's one contention today. Let me come to Acharya Vasudev and ask you about your opinion. If Hindu sentiments are heard because Lord Shiva is depicted on a poster, do you believe that that is an appropriate sort of complaint that many people might have had after seeing that video or that poster?
First of all, let me give you some my English may not be so.
That's okay. We can talk in Hindi,
I can speak in Hindi. No problem. First of all, let me tell you about the Hindu religion. It's not a religion at all. It's a way of life.
Okay.
Centuries together, there has been no norm that you are called Hindu. You are not to perform anything. But you are born in India, you are born in Hindustan, you are born into a Hindu family, you are a Hindu. And people, our parents always teach us what are the trinities, what are the gods, and whatever it is. Now, the God is absolute. Please, let me finish my gist of it. God is absolute. It has got no form. But in Gita, in the 11th chapter, the Lord Krishna told Arjuna asked how to worship. He said, either it's an absolute God or it's a formed God. Means formed according to your perception, according to your thought, how the depictions are made, according to your body and the systems and the Brahmanda. They say, Jat Pinde Tat Brahmanda, Yat Brahmanda Tat Pinde. Please. And after that, we make a form of a God, certain trinity. Alright? But as the ages go, the people forget the real philosophy behind the Hindu. It's not easy, the way of life. Now, for the last about 5 to 10 years I am watching, right? It has never been reported any time by any religious organization, any NGOs or any other organization. But for the last 10 years, it has been perpetrating, it has been increasing.
What has it?
You see, the religious sentiments, hatred in the country,
in the name of religion.
In the name of religion. And Hindu religion has never been a religion to be hated, and they never hated anybody.
That's a long story.
Yes. But now it's all politics.
Those people who say that Shiva perhaps Lord Shiva was offended, or people who worship Lord Shiva were offended just because a portrait of a man looking like Lord Shiva. Do you agree with those people who say that Hindu sentiments have been heard?
No.
Of Shiva?
No, you see, there is a difference between Ras and the insult. You see?
Do you see insult in the poster?
You see, now the people don't understand the Ras. They will feel insulted. Then why you do it? Don't do it. Because it is hurting their sentiments.
No, I'm confused here. I don't understand which side you're on here. Are you suggesting that these sentiments...
I am on one side. People feel hurt and it should not be done. There are other ways to do it.
The poster is hurting sentiments.
Yes, it's hurting.
Okay, so let's just get to that. You're saying poster is hurting sentiments. What about you, Dr. Punpreet Singh? Do you believe, and I'm not just talking about this particular case, or Hindu sentiments, or Muslim sentiments, or Christian sentiments. We see organizations largely on the fringe come out and say that, look, you heard our sentiments. If you don't put this down, we'll attack you. In this particular case, thank God no violence happened. They went to the police and the director got arrested to the shock of his life, really. Do you believe that the freedom of speech can be curtailed, and this is the right thing to do, really, in a so-called progressive democracy?
See, what I say is like, yes, we are living in a democracy, but the thing is, freedom of speech or whatever freedom we have should have some limits. If you feel that something is hurting somewhere, I'm not talking about this poster, I'm not talking about anything, I'm talking in a general way.
Yeah, but let's talk about the poster, because we're discussing it right now. I have a paper in front of me from the producer of the movie. They make it very clear. They did not want to or did not intend to hurt any religious sentiment. They said it came from a place...
Nobody wants to. See, whenever this happens, nobody wants to. I'll be going a bit back when the Santa Banta movie was there and the things were going on.
Sikh community came out. Some of the Sikh community.
Not all of them. So, but yes, obviously, whenever this happens, not all of the public comes out. There are some people who have to come in front. Now the thing is, like, why to do that? If you want to do that, why not take a talk before doing that? Why not make and sit with people who are from those countries and talk to them and take the proper...
producers are also from the community. They are Hindus who are producing the movement. I guess they're not Hindu enough.
I'm not saying that they're not Hindu or they are Hindu or not. That's not the question. The question is, like, if they were Hindus and they maybe the intention was not that, not wrong. But when they are going on a particular subject like religion, which has a lot of faces and a lot of people to see through, it's better to talk to people from different aspects.
Okay.
That can only make it a bit easier.
Okay. Let me just read out to you. RP Singh is also with us. Mr. Singh, let me just read out a couple of excerpts from the statement given out by producers of the movie, and I'm quoting them now. There are three people, Teri, Nitin Upadhyay, and one more unnamed individual. He says our poster was not put out in front of cinema halls across the nation. Also, the CBFC has passed the movie, but it's still so easy for anyone to have their way, which is truly shocking. We hope our stand of not bowing down to this bullying goes on in a big way. Producers are clear they were not hurting anyone. Producers are clear the context is missing because they're not lampooning Lord Shiva. They're just suggesting this character in the movie that Rajkumar Rao plays, his day job is to dress up like Lord Shiva, as many other people do in the country, and that's what's been photographed. Your view?
Okay, others, had all this controversy not come up, probably people are not even bothered to watch this movie. Bhen, Teri, Hogi, whatever name it is. But people are not even bothered to watch this movie. Now, I see a specific reason behind it. And I am saying it other way around, that I see probably producers could have done it intendingly. Okay. And would have asked someone to file a case to get free publicity, to get some publicity.
Do you think it's a feasible idea?
Allow me to complete.
No, but the director has been jailed for a day. He's on the shock of his life. I spoke to him. He's rattled today. He couldn't believe it happened to him. You think he'll risk his own arrest?
Sir, people do a lot of things to promote films also. Don't bother about that. But issue is, the person who has filed a complaint, there's nothing like you have gone personally hate or damage the property or pull down the poster or something like that. Person has filed a case and he is within the right to file a case, and then there's a court to decide on it. Whether it has neglected the symbols of Hinduism or not, that court to decide, or it has hurt the religious sentiment, that's a court to decide. But it's not that those are trying to bully them by not allowing the movie to be in the theaters. And I'm with you on that once it's been cleared by the censor board, then not much of a question is left. But even then, someone is free to go to the court, move to the police, file a complaint, and thereafter what can be done. But I see there can be another angle to it, there is a dimension to it, and that can have been done to do it.
Let me ask you one question, sir. On what you said, I completely agree with you. Once the film has passed the CBFC, then perhaps any complaint should be taken up with the CBFC. If those people who are also appointed on the CBFC and otherwise in the media are known as Sanskari censors thought there was absolutely nothing wrong with it, shouldn't the Jalandhar complainant have complained against the CBFC chief, not the producers of the movie?
That's the ground probably the producers will get to get the bail of a person. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. I'm putting it over, taking that out of it. The producer and director themselves.
Your angle is speculative, purely because...
That's speculative. Tell me, which is the last movie of this sort you remember? If you want.
PK was the last movie with the same issue came up, and clearly...
not PK was a big budget movie.
And what's the
PK was there was a lot of hype being created about PK. And there was a lot of issues in PK also for that regard.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. John Dayal, two questions to you. One, earlier question about whether or not the CBFC should be held liable. Anyone who has a complaint should take it up with the authority who has the authority to license these movies or make them or give them those certificates of no clearance. Shouldn't the complaint be at the CBFC door? Shouldn't Pella Nani be dragged to jail if the Dharam Minister had a problem? Two, is context being deliberately omitted?
So let me put it. I'll allow those questions also. But I want to bring out a thing that has not any comment. This controversy is taking place not only apropos of a film or apropos of God. It is taking place in an environment in the country which is currently surcharged. It is surcharged on many issues, on the crowd issue, on Kashmir issue, on the issue of religious nationalism. So it's a very fraught situation in which we discuss this. That is, please take it there. Second, it's not that there has been no humor on religion. As I've been telling, I was on this channel last night, I said all the classics of Indian cinema, like humor, is Jani Little Yaro, which has, I think, a 15-minute sequence on a Ram Lila, a parody of a Ram Lila, where Rama, or the character playing Rama, character playing Ravana, character playing Sita. Because everybody knows that they are not gods, that they are actors who are pretending to be just the characters of this Ram Lila. Everybody is clear of that. And they go through antics which, in today's environment, would have set every theatre in the country.
They would have invested from.
Yeah, and let me say that there are certain things which are no-nos. Nobody in his senses, and filmmakers have their sense. They want to make money. I mean, here, the larger audience is Hindu. Nobody would like to turn away his audience. And I don't agree with this. If you want a little bit of controversy, it is not a kissing scene. It's not one of those things. It is something that will get the film banned. And there's no money in a banned film. The problem is that the sensitivities to the skin has been scratched so much. It's very there's no sense of
But be devil's advocate here, Dr. John Dayal, just for a second, because there are those...
I'm the devil myself. let me give my own analysis. But the point is, the religions, Christ has been parodied, whether he was married, whether he was alive, did he run away. Some of the classes, again, of Western cinema are based on presuming what happened if Christ had not died on the cross. What happened? Did Christ have children? All these codes, Da Vinci Code and all that, they've been made. Nobody, Christ survived. The films are over.
You're suggesting religions have been around much before humor came into existence.
And much before films came.
Much before films came in. No religion is going anywhere. Whether there's humor or not, whether there's a movie being made or not. Now, I want to ask Acharya,
don't know the other sense of
do you think the poster is mocking or
I'm saying, therefore, this poster I would find, but I am not a practicing, not a Catholic. So and that is the third point I want to say. For me, it's not God, but I would like to bring a sense of respect for his relevance for his God. That is all that matters.
You know, Dr. John Dayal gave the example of Christian faith being mocked by Christians in the world. If you go by what humorists are doing currently, especially in the US, there's a very popular show where God comes in and talks to the host. Now, nobody knows what God looks like. Nobody even knows whether or not he exists. But, you know, religious Christians in the US don't really like that. But they don't take the host of the show, the producer of the show, to jail and complain against them because that person has an absolute right of freedom of speech. But that's that country. I don't want to put that context here because we don't have the absolute freedom and they don't watch that program. And they don't watch that program. Similarly, the people who had gotten offended by this particular poster or they thought that religious sentiment to hurt, could they not have just boycotted the movie and said, we won't watch it, you have your right, go ahead, we think it's extremely wrong?
I will agree to one thing what Mr. Paul has said.
John Dayal.
Dr. John Dayal has said. It is only for the last few years that these type of things are coming up. For the last 5 to 10 years, these things are coming up in the society because they are taking refuge of the religious sentiments of the people. I know about my religion. It has never been insulted. It can't be insulted. It can't be insulted at all. And has never been. And Hindus, as myself a Hindu preacher, I
never feel insulted myself if somebody says something wrong about Ram, something wrong about Krishna. I said, go ahead.
Yeah.
But don't say about me, because he will look after himself, he is to look after me. I have not to look after him at my point in time.
Yeah.
You see, I have not to look after his home.
No.
He is to look after my home.
So what is the course of action people who do get offended? What should they do instead of taking out processions and threatening cinema halls and saying we'll rinse you or what have you? In this particular case, like I said, thankfully no violence. They went to the police and the police arrested them. And what is the right way of tackling if the sentiments are in case?
Arrest is a very right thing.
That's what they did.
That's what they did right now. But the filmmakers say it's cultural bullying, not.
But if they break the cinema halls, will that be okay?
Where is Pune?
Legal
That's happening.
They find a case.
No, I'm not talking about. It's for the legal procedure what's going. They're taking the step.
Yes.
And the court has given the order.
Yeah.
And then the arrest has happened. What has happened?
They've taken a legal rule. That's why I keep thanking the stars. I don't know why.
At least whatever the complaint had, he went through the right procedure, the right protocol.
So does that mean that any humorists, any comedians, any satirists are out of bounds then in this country to not even talk about religion? Because somebody or the other might be.
As I before said, it's about the limits. Humor is not that. Religion, nobody can, bring a bad name to any religion because it's an entity. The question arises is like, if you want to make a humor and you know that the sentiments of people are getting hurt and this time is not the correct time to go forward with such a big faith, why not wait for some
Okay,
my question is,
who defines those limits?
Who defines
limits?
Yeah.
Right.
And in a country with 120 million population, I'm sure on the one hand you talk about progress and development, on the other hand you talk about freedom of expression. Now, somebody or the other will get offended somehow. So, if the rules are not defined, I mean, who's going to define that this is bad, this is going to hurt people, or this is justified? How are we going to handle it?
In that case, isn't it the most likely event that the one who's more powerful or the establishment always loses?
Absolutely.
But there's one more thing. Who's the audience? The level of audience who's looking at the movie, who's going to see the movie. What's the
Why can't you let the audience decide what is offensive or what? Why can't you let the audience decide?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Are extremely stupid and have no idea how what to decide?
They are that's something. Because there is no, in the IPC and the Constitution, there is no schedule of what are the offences and what are the offences. But certain things are clear. If you show the prophet's face, if you show a...
I want to come to that. I said devil's advocate. I want to...
If you show a guru with, say, cigarette packets, or if you show some other Zoroaster or somebody else, or the Buddha doing something funny, at least we know something. But in a larger way of life, to be able to define what is offensive to one, what is not offensive.
R.P. Singh wants to come in here. R.P. Singh, please go ahead.
After this complete freedom in this country, probably if I heard you wrong, please let me know. You said this probably not absolute freedom of speech. I mean, when you talk about...
no, there is no absolute freedom of speech. Under the Constitution, we have limits. Unlike the American, where they have it's complete freedom of speech. You can say what you want. You can burn the flag. You can burn the flag there. You can call the president an idiot, a moron, whatever you want.
Which he is at the moment.
Well, we don't go there.
There's a freedom of speech here also, but only confined to that you can't go against that nation as such. I mean, you can't tomorrow start using nation. Just all guys is okay using this favor of freedom of speech. But yes, I'm again saying, but whatever they have followed the law. They went to police station. Yes, no, they could have gone to court, and where they based on, I go by you. So where they could have gone to the, if you have taken the Central Board of Censor also for the case, I accept that. But they follow the law. I mean, they're not bullying. They just simply follow the law, and there's nothing wrong if they follow the law.
No, I completely agree with you. They did take the help of the law and hence got the director and producer arrested. My question, of course, was earlier, and can we just get the big question back on the screen so that I just want to reiterate one more time what I was hinting at. My producer will do that as we go along. Very quickly, Arvind Banerjee, I want to come to you. R.P. Singh says that there is enough freedom of speech and they went to the law. There's nothing wrong with it, really. My question really is creative liberty, artistic liberty, filmmakers seem to have become soft targets. Whether or not there is a valid dispute, a valid issue to take, more often than not, we see filmmakers have to back down for various reasons, be it monetary, be it security issues.
Painters and writers.
It happened with Hussain, it happened with many Kannada writers, Tamil writers as well. Do you believe ultimately artists have become cannon fodder, really top targets for anyone with a grouse and can use quote-unquote religious sentiment whether or not they have a point or not.
Well,
In India.
definitely they are soft targets, but think of that producer, think of the director whose reputation is at stake. And he's been to jail for what? For making a film, for expressing himself. I mean, even before the case has been decided, okay, if he has hurt somebody's sentiment,
The court will decide that.
let the court decide, but court will decide later. First, he's been punished, so-called punished, for hurting people.
After the CBFC cleared his movie and the publicity of the movie. Now, isn't that the big concern?
He to fulfill the letter of the
I
law.
said, isn't that the big concern here? The CBFC clears the movie. Are we not even going to listen to the Sanskari censor board now? They deemed it okay.
Well, I don't know how you define them. Sanskari censor board. They are a censor board of India. I mean, that's all.
They're not censors. They're certification
They
board.
are certification.
They're not censors.
Okay, whatever. Because you said censor board, I'm repeating the word. Okay, but I'm again saying, they followed the law and they could, what they could have done, they should have gone filed a case against censor board also for that regard. I'm with you on that. But I don't think, I mean, they are into movie. I mean, everyone has right to express, everyone has right to defend his own freedom also. I mean, or his religion also. That's all.
Okay, fair enough. Gopal and then Mr. Basu.
No. See, arrest is a very serious thing. And these filmmaker group, they have fulfilled every letter of the law.
They haven't broken any law.
They have not broken any law at all. And if the FIR is against the censor board also, was the censor chief arrested? Was the board chief arrested? Did he also spend 5 hours in the Thana?
Actually,
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to mention a very sensitive question and sensitive issue behind all this is. You see, you mentioned about the film where there was a lot of mocking of God and the goddess.
That's not really.
No, yes, it was just a filming, But why it is happening now? You see, it's a very serious question. Through your channel, I'm saying Hindus have never been fanatic at all in all the ages of life. They have been moved, they have been kicked, they have been thrown away, they have been converted, but they have never been so fanatic. But the fanatism right now taking up in India of the other religious people, the other religious heads, is pushing some of the Indians to be fanatic, That is the main cause behind
You're saying it's reactionary? No?
It's a reactionary. It's reactionary of the other people.
Does that make it rightful even if it's reactionary? Does it make it justifiable even if it's reactionary?
I disagree. I disagree with
justified. Can't justify it. Any sort of fanaticism cannot be justified.
All right, fair enough.
Every fanatic in the world has gone.
Fair enough.
It may be anybody.
Arti Singh disagrees. Why, Mr. Singh?
I disagree that I don't see that there is any sort of fanatism happening with the Hindus today also. I mean, I don't see that happening.
Is there a certain
Even I have a right to disagree. Allow me to disagree. And also, that Hindu by nature itself can never be fanatic.
Any religion by nature is not fanatic.
It's individuals who make it right. I think it's not religion. All right. We have no more time for this. But I do thank all of you gentlemen for joining us. We had a very civilized debate, rarity on television these days. But I do thank you all for joining us. John Dayal, Acharya Vasudev, Dr. Punpreet Singh, as well as Arnab Banerjee and Akali Singh. That was the debate. Well, a rarity. But thank you so much for joining us. That's debate number 1. And after the show,